who so clearly seems to be the embodiment of Dharma, righteousness, integrity. They're the one who bad things keep happening to, who nothing is going right for them. And when you only have those very short glimpses, you catch one episode of a 20-year-long soap opera, or you catch 2 minutes of a TV show, or you catch just a glimpse of someone's real life, things can look like this. But that's because we don't see the whole truth. What I guarantee you about every single person who's living in corruption, who's creating violence, who's creating harm, who's living in dishonesty, lack of integrity, is there's misery. Not only in the future, but there's misery right now. It looks like, oh my God, they've got everything going for them. They just bought a brand new car. But you have no idea what the inside story is. I cannot tell you how many times I have watched a scene like this unfold. Swamiji and I will arrive in some city of some country around the world. It doesn't matter where it is. Some community leader, big person who's been, appointed as the one who gets to come and get him from the airport will come and receive us. Some fancy car. We get to their house. It's some big mansion, lots of fancy cars in the driveway. Community is there to welcome and receive. And you know that everybody's thinking, oh, God, I wish that I also was the one with the big house, with all the cars, with all the money. Then I would also be so lucky. But then within a period of 15 minutes to an hour, everybody leaves so that we can freshen up, take rest, have a meal, whatever it is. The door closes. And the family whose home it is, who everyone else has been thinking, oh, I wish we could be like them. What, blessings they must have gotten, what great destiny they have to be so successful. The door closes and the tears start. And they fall down at Swamiji's feet on the ground and weep. And the problems vary from city to city, but it's always some combination of what's going on typically in the family. Some issue with the kids, some issue with siblings, some issue with something in the community, some issue with their health, physical health, mental health. Inevitably, there is misery. From the outside, it looks like, oh, these are the people who have it all. But the moment you get just a little bit behind the curtain, you actually see that there is misery. And it's really important to realize that because we pass judgment, not only on issues of karma and destiny and fate, but we pass judgment about so many things without really having the information. Oh, you look happy. Well, yeah, people are pretty good at putting on a good show. Indians tend to be really good at it, but, people in the West are getting better. We tend to be somewhat less good at putting on a show, but people are really good at it. May look happy, may put on smiles for the neighbors, for the guests, for the community. But in so many cases, that's not the truth. So when you're passing judgment of like, this person is a cheater, is a liar, and yet, why are they getting everything? And this one is so honest and with so much integrity and such a good person, and yet negative things are happening to them. You also don't know what their felt sense experience is. Because I've also met so many people who are the ones who have less and who are so much happier and so much more deeply grounded, anchored, content, because they're not putting on such a show and they don't need to, keep up with the people across the street or down the block or next door. And they've made different life choices. And so we might look at them and say, oh, bachata, the poor guys, they're not doing so well, and looks like honesty doesn't really pay off. But what you don't know is that this one can actually go to sleep at night, whereas the first one may not be able to. Many years ago, I was driving. It was right in the very beginning of a lot of the kind of rampant development that has taken over much of our state and neighboring states. And I was driving from a place still in like the villages outside of Haridwar at a big program. Those of you who know who Pujya Swami Ramdevji and Acharya Balkrishnji are, they had just opened a beautiful ashram called Yogram that now is huge and flourishing, but it had just opened at that time out in the villages or kind of in the jungles beyond the villages. And I was driving from there back here, and we drove through a very, very typical string of Indian villages, just exactly what you see of villages, kind of mud houses and people outside of their houses on these like woven beds, the beds without mattresses that are just woven and on sticks. People lying on them, sleeping in the middle of the day. Kids playing some variation of some kind of a game, but that they don't actually have bats, they don't actually have balls, but they're kicking around a stick, having fun. And people are hanging out, drinking tea on the steps, and just, laughing and enjoying life, and somebody else is asleep in their chair, and somebody is asleep on the woven makeshift bed. And then you take one turn, and you enter what's called Sidkul, which is the industrial area of Haridwar. And it looks like it could be a big city anywhere in the world. Big buildings and big asphalt proper streets and people dressed up in work clothes with briefcases and hustling and bustling and streetlights. And I'm sure it's even more of a hustle and bustle now. This was probably 10 plus years ago. And it struck me, just like in that moment, because it was just literally one turn. Like here you're in the village, and then you turn and you could be in New York City. And it was this turn of what actually counts as development. Here, people are able to sleep outside in the middle of the day. Here, people are not even probably able to sleep in their beds in the night. The people in the developed world, the successful world, the briefcases, the fancy clothes, the good jobs, the dinner meetings, are having to have a shot of something or a couple of pills of something to go to sleep at night. And over here, no fancy anything. But even in the middle of the day, sleep comes so beautifully, easily. And it was such a stark comparison between actually what we consider to be success. So this is all a very kind of long storytelling around. Don't judge someone else's destiny or whether they are actually being rewarded or punished or succeeding or not succeeding. Because what might look like rewards and success to you, very likely may actually be misery on the inside. And what might look to you like poverty or lack of so much success might actually be so much deep contentment and happiness. So that's one important part. The other important part is the role that karma plays. So which is more important, karma or destiny? Well, you can't have one without the other. Our karma creates our destiny. It creates our immediate destiny, and it also creates our long-term destiny. And if you look at all of the things that seem like unfair injustices in the past, with a big enough view, there's always a karmic tapestry that's very clear. You look at what happens to Bhagwan Ram, for example, in the Ramayana. It's one of my favorite stories. I won't tell it all tonight. I tell it quite frequently. But it's a beautiful story. If you haven't heard it, go back and Google Shravan Kumar and the connection to Ram. And it's a story that reminds us, oh yeah, even when we see something that seems to be the height of injustice, the most perfect being ever to walk on planet Earth is treated so unfairly, so meanly, with such injustice. And yet, take 3 steps backwards, and suddenly it all makes sense. Oh, Shravan Kumar, oh, him being killed, oh, his parents cursed to King Dasharath, oh, then the yagna, then suddenly he has kids, and it all makes sense. You go, oh. And that's what it requires, is us to take enough steps back. So don't lose your mind worried about other people's karma or destiny or who's getting what, until and unless God comes down and taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, you, could you be my secretary? Like mine's gone on vacation, would you mind keeping notes for me? Until and unless that happens, we're not the karmic police. It's not up to us to try to figure out who should get what. What's up to us is, how do I engage in right action today so that my destiny, not just some far off time in the future, it's not everything is delayed gratification. Doing the right thing is actually gratifying. If you could have a very deep and honest, transparent conversation with someone who has lied or cheated their way to wealth or success, you'd have a completely different vision of it. And if you happen to be that person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There isn't happiness inside. Whereas on the flip side, if you've ever been that person who, even when you could have lied or cheated your way to success, but you didn't, and you chose the path of integrity, and so you didn't get the job, or you didn't get the promotion, or you didn't get the top grade in the exam, or you didn't, whatever it was. But at the end of the day, you look in the mirror, you lie down to go to bed, and you feel so anchored, grounded, connected, true, full in yourself. There is nothing that money can buy that is worth that. So our karma, our action, is giving us destiny in the very moment that we do it, as well as later on. Studying for an exam may not be fun, but we know, oh, it's going to pay me dividends later on when I finally get into college and finally get a job. But also even on the immediate level, even if I don't enjoy the subject matter and I'd rather be out playing baseball, there is on a deep level a very, very deep personal gratification. And we now actually have a lot of scientific data about it. There's so much social science research going on and neuropsych research going on actually the reward of doing the right thing. For example, I learned yesterday, a bit of a momentary digression, but interesting in light of the discussion, that you get a bigger dopamine hit from straightening up your room or your office or your house than you do from going online to social media. So these days, everybody's talking about dopamine hits, when we go on social media and this anticipation of who liked it, who commented, and this dopamine addiction. Well, if you find yourself stuck in a dopamine addiction cycle, turns out the brain actually secretes more dopamine. You get a bigger reward kick in the brain if you just straighten up your room. Straighten up your desk, clean up the house, clean the kitchen. That there is something so neurochemically rewarding about actually neatening up the area around us that we secrete more dopamine than all the stuff we do online. So doing the right thing, even if it's not fun, there is actually an emotional, a spiritual, and even a neurochemical reward for doing the right thing. Whether it's studying for an exam, whether it's being honest, whether it's cleaning up your room. So we get that destiny, not just later in the future, but actually in the very moment of doing it itself. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about so many different things. And we'll open it up to a question that anyone here may have. Yes, of course, please. Can you come to the microphone? Oh, that was your question. Oh, thank you. Oh, so you're here with us. Oh, okay. Well, we managed to get your question on the in advance list. So wonderful. Thank you so much for sending it. Great. Other questions that anyone here might have? Yes, of course, please. Yes, come to the mic, please.
My question is, where do the soul lies in our body?
Where does the soul lie in our body? Everywhere and nowhere. There's no place of the body that you can say, my soul is in here. To the point where if you removed this, I would become soulless. Finger? Sure. But if you remove my finger, do I have less soul? No. Do I have less of an ability to experience my soul? No. The soul is all pervasive. It is traveling and existing with my body, with my life experiences, but it is not actually contained in my body. For example, all sorts of things happen to my body. I'm sleeping, I'm awake, I'm under general anesthesia, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm healthy. The body keeps changing. None of that impacts my soul at all. So it is associated with the body, but it's not in the body. When I die and my body is cremated, my soul is still there. So it's not a matter of like entering the body, because then you'd have an interesting discussion of like, okay, well, when does it enter the body? We believe it enters the body in conception. So in conception, when I'm a tiny little embryo become a fetus, and I'm, microscopic, well, my soul has to fit into something that's microscopic. And then I become a big human being. Well, does my soul like extend and expand, and then we get older and we kind of contract and we get smaller? And the soul isn't growing or shrinking. So it's associated with the Jivatma is. This individual soul is associated with my body, but it's not actually in the body. So there is soul everywhere. And the way that you know that is I'm alive. When the soul leaves my body. It's very interesting. One moment, somebody is mom, dad, honey, sister, brother. 30 seconds later, where are we going to put the body? The moment the soul leaves, it goes from being whoever they were to being the body. Almost instantaneously. I mean, literally 1 minute you're saying, I love you, honey. And the next minute you're saying, call in the nurse to cover the body. All that's changed is the soul has left the body. So it's not that it actually ever was contained in it, but it literally infused every single cell. That was what gave us life. Where the soul is, there's life. The moment the soul leaves the body, it's just a body. But you could literally, and this is kind of morbid, but bear with me, you could literally chop the body piece by piece while it's alive. I mean, you could remove, sometimes people with really bad diabetes, they end up like having a foot amputated, or then maybe a leg amputated, or a hand amputated. I mean, it's awful. But they're still there. The soul, they haven't lost any of their soul just because due to their diabetes they've had to have limbs amputated, or sometimes we have, mountain explorers and they end up getting frostbite and gangrene and their leg gets amputated. But they don't lose 15% of their soul just because the leg is gone. So it infuses all of it, but it's not actually bound by any of it. It's just associated with it. Yes, wonderful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. I have an important announcement, which is that I am not going to be here tomorrow. A very sudden change of plans. Pujya Swamiji and I have to travel to London tomorrow for just a day. A very, very, very dear member of our Parmarth family, a very renowned pillar of the Indian community across the globe, has passed away. Sri G.P. Hindujaji, who was an incredible, incredible pillar of culture, of dharma, of generosity, of so much. and very, very close to our ashram, has passed away yesterday in London. And so we will be traveling tomorrow. We'll be out for a day. I should be back. Today is what day? The 5th? Should be back on the 8th. Yeah, we're there on the 7th. Should be back on the 8th. But here's the best way to know. If I am in Arti, I hope that you're all joining us in Ganga Arti before coming into Satsang. If I am in Arti and say, come and join us in Satsang, there is Satsang. If you are in Arti and you do not see me in Arti, enjoy the Arti, but it means that there will not be Satsang that evening. We will get a notice put up also on both of our bulletin boards in the main office here and the reception, Pujya Swamiji's reception, and this main reception here. But it should be 6th, 7th, 8th. I should be back 8th, but I don't think in time to do satsang. So I think satsang we will start again on the 9th. So whatever day of the week the 9th is. So it's amazing that going out of the country for one day actually makes you gone for 3 days. But there it is. And it's part of the going with the divine flow of life and responding with yes to life. So sorry that we will not be here, but I'm so happy that you are all here. And I look so forward to hopefully seeing most of you at least on the 9th. And so much love to you all.
Thank you, Pujya Sadhviji, for your beautiful wisdom and sharing, even if shorter tonight, all of your love and light with us. Just as an example, the question that came in as a written question, we do take written questions. Someone else had approached me about that. At the back, there is a paper. You can write out your question and hand it in, or hand it to one of the sevaks, myself, Rohan, Claudine over there. So feel free to write your question, put your email address on it so that we will know how to get in touch with you to let you know. There's also cards at the back with an email address if you wish to type out your question and send it in. But please do. They're very important for us, and they're questions that will help everyone. So we can be seen live stream on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook at Sadhviji, so please be sure to stay connected to us even when you're not here. We'd love to be in your living room or on your computer or on your beautiful device. We also have a very nice podcast called Ask Sadhviji, which is a combination of meditations and curated questions that have been specially selected. So that's a way to also stay connected and stay in touch. So we will see you in a few days, and much love to you all.